Introduction. The truth about understanding women. A stoic approach. Have you ever found yourself doing everything right in your interactions with women? Being kind, giving them space, respecting their needs, but still ending up confused, frustrated, or even heartbroken? Maybe you've been told to simply be yourself, act with respect, or put her needs first, only to have things not work out as planned. What if I told you that everything you've been taught about understanding women is, in fact, incomplete? What if the key to truly understanding the dynamics between men and women lies in recognizing certain fundamental weaknesses that are hidden, not just in women, but in human nature itself? This isn't about exploiting weaknesses. It's about understanding them, seeing them as part of the human experience, and using this understanding to cultivate a more grounded, balanced, and stoic approach to relationships. Stick with me, because in the next few sections I'm going to share the top 13 female weaknesses every man must know, insights drawn from Stoic philosophy that will challenge your thinking and completely transform how you approach dating and relationships. This might sound like a bold claim, but trust me, by the end of this article, you'll see relationships and your role in them in an entirely new light. And the best part, by understanding these hidden weaknesses, you'll be better equipped to build healthy, lasting connections with the women in your life. If you're ready to delve into the truth, drop a comment below saying, "I'm ready," and keep reading. This could change everything you thought you knew about attraction and relationships. The Stoic perspective. Female weaknesses in the context of human nature. Let's face it, dating can often feel like a game where the rules are constantly shifting and the goalposts move before you can even reach them. And yet, there are certain universal truths that remain unchanged. At the heart of Stoicism lies an understanding of human nature, our tendencies, our emotions, and our weaknesses. The Stoics believed that to lead a virtuous life, you must understand the nature of yourself and others. This applies as much to women as it does to men. Many men struggle in relationships not because they lack effort or good intentions, but because they fail to understand the underlying dynamics that shape women's actions and emotions. Women, like all people, have their vulnerabilities, certain traits and weaknesses that can sometimes obscure their true desires and needs. These weaknesses are not faults, but rather natural aspects of human psychology. Once you understand them, you can better navigate relationships with empathy, patience, and resilience. This will lead to greater success in love, communication, and mutual respect. So, without further ado, let's explore the top 13 female weaknesses every man must know, as seen through the lens of Stoicism. 1. Emotional reactivity. The power of self-control. One of the most significant challenges men face when dealing with women in relationships is emotional reactivity. Women are often perceived as more emotionally expressive than men, and this can sometimes lead to misunderstandings. From a Stoic perspective, we understand that emotions are not inherently bad, but they can lead to hasty decisions, irrational behaviors, or destructive arguments if not properly managed. Stoicism teaches the importance of emotional control, not to suppress emotions but to regulate them, to prevent them from controlling you. Women, like all people, can be prone to emotional extremes. Their emotions are sometimes a reaction to internal insecurities or external pressures. By cultivating your own emotional self-control, you become less likely to be swept up by her mood swings or emotional outbursts, maintaining your composure and perspective in difficult situations. 2. The desire for validation, a call for inner strength. Women, like men, have a deep-seated desire for validation. This is a part of human nature, and it often manifests in a woman's need for external recognition, whether through compliments, attention, or affection. In relationships, this can sometimes come across as insecurity or neediness. Stoicism teaches that true validation must come from within. A Stoic man understands that his own worth is not dependent on the approval of others. This inner strength allows him to be a steady, reliable partner who does not rely on constant praise or reassurance to feel secure in his relationship. Recognizing that women may seek validation, particularly in moments of doubt or stress, allows you to respond with empathy, offering encouragement and support without falling into the trap of reinforcing unhealthy dependence on external validation. 3. Fear of rejection. The Stoic approach to vulnerability. Fear of rejection is a natural human fear, and women are no exception. It is often a defense mechanism to protect their self-worth, but it can also create barriers to deeper emotional connections. In Stoicism, we learn to embrace vulnerability. Rejection, while painful, is not the end of the world. It is an opportunity for growth. A Stoic man sees rejection as something that happens to him, not because of him, and it should never define his value. By embracing rejection as part of the human experience, you can help alleviate the fear of rejection in your partner. Your own attitude toward rejection will influence her ability to accept vulnerability and risk within the relationship. The need for attention. Balancing desire with rational action. Women often seek attention in relationships, not because they are inherently needy, but because, as social creatures, they derive a sense of connection and belonging from being seen and heard. While this is a natural inclination, it can sometimes lead to feelings of dissatisfaction or frustration when their need for attention is not met. From a Stoic point of view, the key here is balance. While attention and affection are vital to any relationship, it is crucial to distinguish between healthy needs and unhealthy expectations. A Stoic man does not feel compelled to cater to every whim or need. He understands that relationships are based on mutual respect, not constant validation. By balancing attention with emotional independence, both you and your partner can maintain a healthy, grounded connection. The fear of loss, cultivating detachment. The fear of losing a loved one can drive many women to behave in ways that may seem possessive, anxious, or overbearing. This fear often stems from insecurities about self-worth or fear of being abandoned. In Stoicism, we are taught to practice apatheia, the ability to remain emotionally detached from outcomes, especially those beyond our control. This does not mean being cold or indifferent. Rather, it means cultivating a deep inner peace that is not easily shaken by external circumstances. A Stoic man recognizes the inevitability of loss, and rather than letting it govern his actions, uses it as a reminder to cherish the present moment. His calm presence can help reassure his partner, easing her anxiety and fostering a more secure, trusting relationship. 6. Inconsistent communication. Cultivating patience and rationality. In many relationships, communication can seem to fluctuate. One moment, everything is flowing smoothly, and the next, it feels as though there's a wall between the two of you. Women, like men, sometimes struggle with clarity in communication, especially when emotions are involved. This inconsistency can lead to confusion, frustration, and misinterpretation of intentions. From a Stoic standpoint, communication is about seeking the truth without letting emotions cloud judgment. The Stoics believed in the importance of logos, the rational principle that governs the universe, and that communication should always aim to reflect reason, clarity, and understanding. A Stoic man does not react to emotional fluctuations or inconsistent communication. Instead, he remains patient and composed. When communication becomes difficult, he calmly seeks clarity, refrains from jumping to conclusions, and gives the other person time to express themselves fully. By doing so, he not only strengthens his own capacity for emotional resilience, but also encourages more open, honest exchanges. In practical terms, if you notice a partner withdrawing or becoming unclear in her communication, it's important to avoid defensive reactions. Rather, approach the situation with empathy and patience, acknowledging that emotional fluctuations are natural, and aim for constructive, rational conversations that bring clarity back to the relationship. 7. Overthinking, the power of acceptance. Overthinking is a common trait that many women experience, especially in relationships. It often stems from the desire to predict every outcome or ensure every detail is perfect. Unfortunately, this tendency to overanalyze can lead to stress, anxiety, and paralysis by analysis. It can also affect how she interacts with you, leading her to misread situations or assume the worst. The Stoics teach us to accept what we cannot control and to focus only on what is within our power to change. Epictetus once said, "Wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants." This notion can be applied to relationships as well. Overthinking arises from an attempt to control the uncontrollable, things that are outside of our immediate influence, like how others perceive us or the future of a relationship. As a Stoic man, you must not become frustrated or anxious if your partner overthinks. Instead, help her practice acceptance, encouraging her to focus on what is within her control and to let go of worries about things outside of her influence. In doing so, you reinforce a sense of peace and rational thought, both for yourself and your partner. If your partner starts overthinking a situation, the best approach is to help her refocus on what she can actively do while letting go of what she cannot. Guide her to understand that the best course of action is to take rational steps forward rather than be paralyzed by the fear of uncertainty. 8. Jealousy, cultivating trust and detachment. Jealousy is a powerful emotion that can sometimes overtake rational thinking in relationships. Whether it's about your interactions with other women, past relationships, or social situations, jealousy often stems from a fear of loss and a lack of self-worth. The Stoics view jealousy as an emotional reaction that arises from attachment to things that are beyond our control. In relationships, jealousy often grows from an exaggerated sense of ownership, a fear of losing someone, or insecurity about one's own value. For a Stoic, jealousy is something to be actively avoided. It's important to recognize that you cannot control another person's actions, and that the only thing you can control is your own response. A Stoic man practices detachment, not in the sense of being indifferent to his partner, but in understanding that relationships are not possessions. Trust is key, and when you establish trust, jealousy loses its power. To counter jealousy in your relationship, cultivate a mindset of mutual respect and trust. Reassure your partner of your commitment without feeding into insecurity. Acknowledge that the feelings of jealousy that may arise are natural, but not necessary. By embodying self-confidence and trust in the relationship, you help your partner to feel secure and loved without needing constant validation or reassurance. 9. Need for constant reassurance, building self-reliance. Another common issue that many men face in relationships is the need for constant reassurance from their partner. Women, like men, can sometimes feel insecure or uncertain, and they might seek affirmation frequently to feel loved or valued. In a Stoic framework, reassurance is a double-edged sword. It's a temporary solution that only reinforces dependency rather than encouraging self-reliance. Stoicism teaches that external validation should not be the foundation of your self-worth. True confidence comes from within. As a Stoic man, one of the most valuable things you can do in a relationship is encourage your partner to find her sense of self-worth through her own actions and inner virtues. Instead of feeding into a cycle of reassurance seeking, help her recognize her strengths and capabilities. Guide her to develop the same sense of inner strength that you cultivate within yourself. where self-reliance, not external validation, becomes the cornerstone of her emotional well-being. When your partner seeks constant reassurance, be compassionate but firm. Reinforce that the relationship is built on mutual respect and inner strength, and that you trust her to find her own sense of self-worth, just as you work on cultivating your own. 10. Fear of conflict. Embracing difficult conversations. Many women, particularly those who care deeply about the relationship, fear conflict. Whether it's a disagreement over an issue, a difference in values, or simply a misunderstanding, the fear of conflict can sometimes manifest as avoidance, silence, or passive-aggressive behavior. This can prevent important issues from being addressed, leaving tension and unresolved emotions to fester. For the Stoic, conflict is not to be avoided, but faced head-on with calm reason and objectivity. Marcus Aurelius often reflected on the value of enduring hardship and difficulty, understanding that challenges in life, including conflict, are an opportunity to practice virtue. As a Stoic man, you must model the approach of confronting problems with rational thought and emotional composure. Instead of shying away from difficult conversations, approach them with the understanding that addressing the issue directly is the most virtuous course of action. This requires courage to speak the truth, courage to listen, and courage to resolve the issue in a way that benefits both partners. If your partner fears conflict, reassure her that it is not the conflict itself that is destructive, but the failure to resolve it with empathy and understanding. Create a safe space where both parties can express their feelings without judgment or hostility, and where rational problem-solving takes precedence over emotional reactions. 11th, perfectionism. Embracing imperfection. Perfectionism is a trait that can be particularly pronounced in women, especially in a culture that demands high standards in personal appearance, professional success, and relationships. This desire to be perfect can create immense pressure, leading to feelings of inadequacy or frustration when perfection is not achieved. From a Stoic perspective, perfectionism is a false ideal. The Stoics believed that striving for excellence was virtuous, but striving for perfection, something unattainable, only leads to frustration and disappointment. Seneca famously said, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it." In relationships, perfectionism can lead to wasted time spent in self-criticism or anxiety, rather than enjoying life's imperfect beauty. As a Stoic man, the best way to support a partner who struggles with perfectionism is to encourage her to embrace her flaws as part of her human nature. Help her see that it is not the perfection of a moment or a person that brings joy, but the acceptance and appreciation of imperfection. Encourage her to focus on progress rather than perfection, and to be kind to herself as she learns and grows. 12. The need for control, surrendering to the flow of life. Women, like men, may feel the urge to control the people and situations around them. This need for control can arise out of fear, insecurity, or a desire for certainty. While some degree of control is necessary in life, excessive need for control can lead to anxiety, strained relationships, and resistance to change. Stoicism teaches us that there is much in life that is beyond our control. Epictetus said, "Some things are up to us and some things are not." A Stoic man understands the importance of accepting life's flow, even when things don't go according to plan. He seeks to control his own responses rather than trying to control the external world. In relationships, when your partner exhibits a need to control situations or outcomes, gently remind her that many things are outside of our influence. Encourage her to practice acceptance and to focus on those aspects of life that are within her power to change. By doing so, she can experience greater peace and freedom from anxiety. 13. Lack of boundaries. Defining your own space. The final weakness to address is the lack of personal boundaries. Women, like men, can sometimes blur the lines of healthy boundaries in relationships, whether due to a fear of rejection, a desire to please, or a lack of awareness of their own needs. In Stoicism, boundaries are essential for maintaining one's emotional health and integrity. A Stoic understands that personal space, physically, emotionally, and psychologically, is vital for self-preservation and growth. Without boundaries, it becomes difficult to cultivate the inner peace that is necessary for a virtuous life. As a Stoic man, it's important to model and reinforce healthy boundaries within the relationship. Respect for each other's personal space, time, and needs ensures that both partners remain whole, individuals, not merely extensions of one another. Encourage your partner to recognize and assert her own boundaries, while respecting yours, as this will create a more balanced, mutually respectful relationship. Conclusion: applying Stoic wisdom to relationships. In exploring the top 13 female weaknesses every man must know, we have seen how Stoic principles can guide us toward greater understanding, empathy, and resilience in relationships. By cultivating self-control, patience, rationality, and emotional detachment, a Stoic man navigates relationships not with force or manipulation, but with wisdom, clarity, and integrity. By recognizing and embracing these weaknesses, both in women and in ourselves, we create space for growth, mutual respect, and connection. The Stoic path is not about perfection, but about striving for virtue, living each day with courage, wisdom, justice, and moderation. When we understand the nature of human weaknesses and approach relationships with a Stoic mindset, we can create lasting, meaningful connections that are based not on external validation, but on mutual respect and inner strength. And in doing so, we become not just better partners, but better people,